Stars stretched into thin white lines as the Terran scout ship ISS Valkyrie jumped through the void. Its engines screamed, glowing red from the heat. Inside the cockpit, Lieutenant Rhea Morgan's hands moved fast over the controls, trying to keep the ship alive. Warning lights flashed across the panels. The computer voice repeated the same cold message again and again. Engine temperature critical. Structural integrity at 62%. Behind her, 3 Drakkar hunter ships followed. They looked like black knives in space, moving fast and silent. Each one carried plasma cannons strong enough to melt through a destroyer's armor. The hunters had been chasing her for over an hour, ever since she found their hidden research post on the edge of the Orion Rift. Now, the chase had brought them into the thickest part of an asteroid field, where giant rocks spun like angry gods. Rhea's heart pounded. The main display showed the nearest asteroid only 200 meters away. She tilted the ship hard left. The Valkyrie rolled between 2 spinning stones, the hull scraping against one. Sparks shot past the window. "Easy, girl," she whispered to her ship, as if it could feel fear. The ship's AI, a soft female voice named Iris, replied calmly, "Impact on port side minimal. Shields at 30%. Rhea exhaled slowly. She didn't have time to relax. A flash of blue light filled the cockpit as a plasma bolt streaked past. The Drakkar were still right behind her. Outside, the alien ships spread out in a perfect hunting pattern. Their leader, Commander Vorak, growled in his deep, rough voice. "Terran prey, persistent, end it!" His claws tapped the control screen as he gave the order to fire. All 3 ships opened up. Bolts of light crossed the field like lightning, hitting asteroids and tearing them apart. The explosions created waves of dust and broken rock. The Valkyrie dived under the debris, her small size and human pilot's instincts keeping her 1 step ahead. "Fuel at 12%, Iris warned. Rhea gritted her teeth. "I just need to make it to open space. 1 more jump and we're out." But deep down, she knew she wouldn't last that long. The jump drive was damaged, the reactor was running hot, and her body was shaking from exhaustion. She hadn't slept in 2 days. Every muscle in her back screamed from the stress. A bright explosion lit up the space to her right. One of the asteroids had been split open by a plasma shot, revealing bright ice crystals inside. They glimmered like diamonds as they spun away. For a brief second, it was beautiful. Then another explosion followed, closer this time. The Valkyrie shuddered. "Shield failure imminent," Iris said. "Recommend evasive action." "Yeah, thanks," Rhea muttered, twisting the controls. The ship slid between 2 massive stones and came out into a clearing. She checked her radar. Only 2 hunters were visible now. The 3rd must have taken another route. Maybe she could use that. Maybe she could lure them into each other's fire. Then Iris interrupted her thoughts. Unidentified energy readings ahead. High instability detected. Rhea frowned. "Show me." A new blip appeared on the screen, pulsing with strange purple light. It looked like a storm, but there shouldn't be storms in space. Before she could react, the ship shook violently. Static filled her comms. The stars around her twisted and bent, as if reality itself was folding. "What the?" she whispered. The strange light ahead grew brighter and brighter until it filled the whole sky. The Drakkar ship slowed, unsure what they were seeing. Commander Vorak barked orders, but his crew was already panicking. "It's consuming the field," someone shouted in his alien tongue. And they were right. The purple storm wasn't staying still. It was spreading. Rhea's eyes widened as the storm swallowed an asteroid, tearing it apart molecule by molecule. Space around it bent inward like water swirling down a drain. The gravity sensors went wild. Iris's voice trembled for the first time. "Warning. Unknown gravitational anomaly. Recommend immediate course change." "No kidding," Rhea yelled. She slammed her hands on the thrusters, but the ship barely moved. The engines coughed and flickered. Then she saw it. The energy storm wasn't pulling her in randomly. It was targeting her. She tried to activate the jump drive. "Come on, come on!" The lights dimmed, and the engines gave a deep metallic groan. "Jump drive online in 10 seconds, Iris said. "Too long," Rhea whispered. The Drakkar were trying to escape too, but their massive ships were slower. One of them fired a desperate shot at the Valkyrie, hoping to destroy her before they died. The plasma bolt missed, disappearing into the storm, and then it curved back. The energy twisted the bolt in mid-flight, throwing it right back into the Drakkar ship. The explosion was huge. Fire and debris spun everywhere. Rhea stared at the wreckage. "What is this place?" she said softly. The purple light was all around her now. The controls froze. The displays went dark. Only the sound of her breathing filled the cockpit. "Iris?" she called. No answer. The light grew stronger until she couldn't see anything but white. Then silence. Time passed, but Rhea couldn't tell how long. It could have been seconds or hours. Slowly, she felt gravity return. Her head ached. The emergency lights flickered on. The cockpit was filled with thin smoke. "Iris?" she said again, coughing. The AI's voice came back, weak and distorted. "System reboot in progress." "Partial power restored." Rhea looked out the window. What she saw made her chest tighten. The stars were gone. Instead, there was a thick, glowing mist, like fog made of light. It stretched endlessly in every direction. The ship floated in silence. The only sound a faint hum from the damaged reactor. "Where are we?" Rhea asked. Iris responded, "No known coordinates. Navigation offline. Stellar patterns unrecognized." That meant one thing. They were no longer in normal space. Rhea took a deep breath. Her hands shook slightly as she switched on the external cameras. Through the haze, she saw movement, 3 dark shapes drifting nearby. For a moment, she thought they were debris. Then one of them blinked red lights. The Drakkar. At least 2 of their ships had been pulled in with her. "Of course," she said under her breath. Couldn't be that lucky. The alien ships were damaged, their hulls cracked and sparking, but they were still alive. Rhea's radar picked up faint energy signals from them. They seemed to be struggling too, trying to restart their systems. She watched as the largest ship, the one that had to belong to their commander, turned slowly to face her. Its weapons ports glowed weakly, then went dark. Either they couldn't fire or the storm had drained their power. Rhea's instincts told her to run, but there was nowhere to go. The glowing mist surrounded everything. It wasn't space anymore. It was something else entirely. A different dimension, maybe. Or some kind of subspace pocket. She didn't know. And that scared her more than the aliens ever had. The radio cracked with static. Then a deep, growling voice came through, broken but clear enough. "Terran vessel!" "You live." Rhea froze. It was Vorak. Somehow their communication systems still worked. "Barely," she replied. "If you're looking for a fight, you'll have to wait." "I don't even know where here is." Vorak gave a low growl that sounded almost like laughter. "You have led us into a trap." "What have you done?" "Me?" "You were chasing me," Rhea snapped. "You fired first, remember?" "You opened the rift," he said. "No human could open something like that," she replied. "Whatever this is, it was already here." There was a long pause. Then Vorak's tone changed. "Our systems are dead. Weapons, engines, shields, all drained." Rhea glanced at her own readouts. "Same problem. Looks like we're both stuck," she said quietly. Vorak didn't answer. Then the radio went silent again. Rhea sat back and rubbed her eyes. The adrenaline was fading, leaving only exhaustion. She thought about sending out a distress beacon, but there was no point. No one could reach them. Maybe no one could even detect them. She tried to remember the last thing she saw before the light swallowed her, the way the storm twisted space like it was alive. It hadn't just reacted, it had aimed. It wanted them. A soft beep came from the sensor panel. "What now?" she muttered. The screen showed faint ripples in the fog, like something moving far away. "Iris, analyze that." The AI hesitated before replying. "Unidentified motion detected. Source unknown. Multiple signatures." "How many?" Rhea asked. "At least 6. Her stomach turned. "Are they ships?" "No, not ships." Rhea stared out the window again. For a moment, she thought she saw shapes. Tall, thin, glowing faintly, sliding through the mist. They vanished as quickly as they appeared. Maybe it was just her imagination. But the hair on her arms stood up. The silence felt heavy, almost alive. "I think," she whispered, "we're not alone." Outside, one of the Drakkar ships fired a small burst from its thrusters, testing them. The energy flickered weakly, then died. The motion caused the fog to swirl, and something moved within it, fast. A flash of light, a shadow passing through. Then the alien ship vanished from Rhea's radar completely. No explosion, no wreckage. Just gone. Rhea's breath caught in her throat. "Iris, what happened to the Drakkar vessel?" "Unknown," the AI said. "Energy signature terminated. Cause undetermined." Rhea stared into the fog where the ship had been. The mist was calm again, as if nothing had happened. Her heart was still pounding, but she forced herself to focus. She adjusted her seat, checked the controls, and whispered, "All right, let's stay calm. Figure this out. There has to be a way out." But a part of her already knew the truth. There has to be a way out. But a part of her already knew the truth. Whatever this place was, it wasn't meant for humans. Or for anyone at all. Rhea Morgan sat in the dim light of her ship, trying to calm her breathing. The fog outside pulsed faintly, like it was alive, and the hull creaked from invisible pressure. Every instinct told her she wasn't supposed to be here. She rubbed her eyes and whispered to herself, "You're fine. You're alive. Think." But even her own voice sounded strange, muffled, as if the air didn't belong to her anymore. Iris flickered back to life with a soft tone. "Core systems at 20%. Environmental controls stable. Weapons offline." Rhea sighed in relief. At least we're breathing. She looked through the cracked glass of the cockpit again. There was nothing but the glowing fog and distant flashes of blue light that looked like lightning frozen in slow motion. The stars were gone. The universe had vanished. Only this strange void remained. She tried the radio again. "Drakkar Command Vessel, this is Lieutenant Morgan of the ISS Valkyrie. Do you copy?" Static answered her. Then, after a few seconds, a low growl broke through. "We hear you, human." It was Commander Vorak again. His voice was rough but steady. "Your trap has killed one of my ships. I should destroy you for this." Rhea almost laughed. "You can try, but it looks like we're both powerless." There was a pause before Vorak replied, "You speak truth. The void eats everything. It devours power, even light. Then we have a problem," Rhea said quietly. "A big one." Vorak made a low sound in his throat, almost like a purr. "The Drakkar do not die so easily. We will find a way to break free." "You can try brute force," she replied. "But unless you've got a god hidden in your ship, I don't think that'll help." The radio fell silent again. Rhea leaned back in her chair, staring at the fog. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Something about the quiet was wrong. It wasn't just empty silence. It felt heavy, like something unseen was watching from every direction. Iris suddenly spoke, her voice slightly sharper. "Lieutenant, motion detected off our starboard side." Rhea turned to look. Through the fog, faint lights flickered, cold, blue, and distant. At first, she thought it was debris reflecting light. Then she realized the lights were moving in a slow, deliberate pattern. "What are those?" she whispered. Iris processed for a moment before replying, "No match found in any database. Movement pattern appears. Intelligent." That sent a chill through her. "Could be Drakkar drones," Rhea said quickly, trying to make sense of it. "Or something left behind by their tech." But deep down she knew it wasn't. The lights were too smooth, too precise, gliding like fish through dark water. She watched them circle the wreckage of one of the destroyed Drakkar ships. Then, one by one, the lights blinked out, and the wreckage started drifting away, slowly at first, then faster, until it was gone, swallowed by the mist. Rhea whispered, "Iris, record everything." "Recording," the AI confirmed. "Recommendation, do not approach unidentified objects." "Wasn't planning to." Rhea tightened her grip on the control stick anyway. She didn't know what those things were, but she had the feeling they weren't friendly. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Time felt wrong here, stretching and folding in strange ways. The glowing fog seemed to move in slow waves, and sometimes she thought she could hear faint whispers under the hum of the engines, voices that weren't there. Once, she swore she heard her own name. She pushed herself up and walked to the back of the small ship. The emergency supplies were intact. There was water, protein bars, and 2 spare oxygen tanks. Enough for a week, maybe more if she rationed carefully. That thought didn't comfort her. A week in this place might as well be forever. Then Iris broke the silence again. Incoming signal encrypted. Rhea froze. Drakkar? Negative, the AI said. Signal origin unknown. Attempting to decode. A faint sound filled the cabin, a rhythmic pulse, almost like a heartbeat. Then it turned into something that could almost be a voice. It spoke in a language Rhea didn't recognize, deep and metallic. Every time the sound played, her stomach twisted. It felt like the voice wasn't just being heard, it was inside her head. "Shut it off!" she shouted. The sound stopped instantly. Iris said, "Signal terminated." Rhea took a deep breath and leaned against the wall. "Whatever that was, we're not answering again." "Understood," said the AI. But even after it ended, she could still feel the echo of that voice somewhere deep in her mind. Her radio crackled again. Vorak's rough voice came through, angry and frightened all at once. "Human, you hear it too, yes?" "The call?" "Yeah," she replied. "I heard it." "What is it?" "Old," Vorak growled. "Older than the Drakkar." "Older than you." "The Void Walkers spoke of such a place, a grave of gods." "A grave?" Rhea said. "Then why are we hearing something alive?" Vorak didn't answer. She could almost imagine his scales tightening in fear. A deep vibration suddenly shook the ship. The lights flickered. "Iris, what's happening?" Rhea shouted. "Energy surge detected below us. Source unknown." Rhea looked out the window and her heart skipped a beat. The fog was clearing slightly beneath the ship, revealing something massive and dark. It wasn't a planet or an asteroid. It was a structure, metallic, circular, miles across, with lights flickering weakly on its surface. "Vorak," she said through the radio, "I think we just found something." "We see it too," he replied. "A construct, artificial. Do you think it's Drakkar?" "No. We would never build something like this." His tone was hushed, as if he feared to speak too loud. "The markings are not ours." Rhea stared at the massive shape below. Her ship's scanners could barely process the readings, but what they did pick up was impossible. The material wasn't any known metal. It reflected light in strange ways, almost bending it. And in the center of the structure, a huge, circular gate glowed faintly with shifting colors. "It looks like a door," she said. "A door to what?" Vorak asked. Rhea swallowed hard. "That's what scares me." They both decided to move closer, slowly, using what little power they had left. As the Valkyrie drifted downward, the fog grew thinner. The gate loomed larger, and strange symbols covered its surface. They pulsed faintly, like veins under skin. When Rhea got close enough, her console flickered again. "Warning," Iris said softly. "Unknown energy field detected. Magnetic interference rising. Can we scan it?" "Negative." "The field resists all data capture." Then, without warning, the radio came alive again. But this time, it wasn't Vorak's voice or static. It was a human voice. "Lieutenant Rhea Morgan," it said calmly. "You should not be here." Rhea froze. Her mind raced. "Who are you?" she demanded. "Identify yourself." The voice was soft, almost kind. "We are what remains of what came before. Turn back." "That's not possible," she said. "We're trapped." The voice grew quieter. "Then you will see, and you will understand." The radio went dead. Rhea's throat felt dry. "Iris, replay that signal." "No record found," the AI replied. "There was no transmission." "I just heard it," Rhea said. "You must have..." "Negative. Audio sensors detected no input." Rhea's hands trembled. "Then what the hell was that?" A sudden noise cut through her thoughts. A deep, low hum coming from the structure below. The symbols on the gate began to glow brighter, shifting from blue to orange. The fog rippled outward like water. "Vorak, are you seeing this?" she shouted. "We see," he replied. "It wakes." "What wakes?" "The thing that made this grave," Vorak said grimly. "And it knows we are here." The hum became a vibration that shook her bones. The gate in the center started to open, its circular segments twisting like gears. Light poured out, too bright to look at. Rhea threw up her arm to shield her eyes. "Iris, move us back!" "Engine's not responding." "Try!" she yelled. The ship shuddered but didn't move. The light grew brighter, and within it she saw shapes. Tall, thin, shifting forms that seemed made of smoke and lightning. They stepped through the gate, and the fog bent around them as if afraid. One of the Drakkar ships fired a weak plasma shot in panic. It hit the light and vanished instantly, absorbed like a drop of ink in water. Vorak's voice came through, shouting in his language, a mixture of command and terror. The creatures turned toward the noise. Their faces were blank, their bodies glowing faintly. They didn't move like living beings. They drifted. Rhea could feel something pushing at her mind, a whisper, cold and curious. She screamed, clutching her head. "Iris, shut everything down!" "Powering off all non-essential systems," the AI said. The lights dimmed. The hum faded slightly. The voices in her head quieted, but she could still feel them watching. "What are they?" she whispered. "I do not know," Iris replied. "But I believe they are not dead." The gate closed behind the creatures, leaving the void silent again. Vorak spoke softly over the radio, his voice hollow. "The grave is open, Terran, and now the dead remember us." Rhea stared into the endless fog, the light from the gate still glowing faintly in her eyes. She didn't know what had escaped, but she knew one thing for certain. They were no longer the hunters or the prey. They were witnesses to something ancient waking up, and it was only the beginning. Witnesses to something ancient waking up, and it was only the beginning. The silence after the awakening felt worse than the storm itself. It sat heavy in the air, pressing against Rhea's chest like a weight she couldn't breathe around. The fog had grown darker now, pulsing with dim light, as if the void itself had started to breathe. Every few seconds, faint ripples rolled through the mist, like invisible waves moving away from the structure below. The gate was closed again, but she could still see a faint shimmer where it had opened. Whatever came out was gone. Or hiding. Rhea hadn't moved from her seat for what felt like hours. Her fingers still gripped the controls, knuckles pale. Iris's voice broke the stillness. Vital signs elevated. "Recommend rest." Rhea almost laughed. "Rest? In here? Not a chance!" She leaned back and stared out the window. "I just want to understand what's happening." "I am analyzing the structure," Iris said softly. "Preliminary results suggest it is millions of years old, possibly predating known galactic history." Rhea shook her head. "Millions? Nothing lasts that long." "Apparently something does," Iris replied. Her radio flickered to life. Vorak's voice came through, deeper and rougher than before. "Terran, you still live." "Barely," Rhea answered. "Your ships?" "One remains, my own. The others are gone." "What do you mean, gone?" "They were taken," Vorak said. "By the fog, by the things that move within it." Rhea looked outside. "I haven't seen them since the light faded." "They do not need light to hunt," Vorak said. His tone was strange, almost resigned. "They are what waits between the stars." She didn't know how to reply to that. Instead, she changed the subject. "Our power's coming back slowly. Maybe we can combine what's left, find a way out." There was a pause before Vorak answered. "We can try, but I do not think this place allows escape." Rhea clenched her fists. There's always a way out. She refused to believe otherwise. She didn't care how impossible it seemed. She'd find one. They began working together, though neither trusted the other fully. Vorak sent a small data packet with readings from his ship. The information matched hers perfectly. The void drained energy constantly, like an endless hunger. But deeper within, near the ancient structure, the drain weakened slightly, as if the energy was being pulled somewhere else. "Maybe we can use that," Rhea said. "If we fly close enough, we might recharge the drives." Vorak made a low growl of disagreement. "Too dangerous. You got a better idea?" she asked. A long pause, then, "No." So they went. The Valkyrie drifted forward, engines barely pushing against the strange resistance in the air. Vorak's remaining ship followed beside her, its black hull scarred and scorched. The two ships looked like ghosts gliding through a dying universe. As they neared the structure again, Rhea noticed something new. The symbols carved into its surface were changing. They were rearranging themselves, glowing brighter, forming patterns that pulsed in time with her heartbeat. "Iris," she whispered. "Tell me I'm imagining that." "You are not," the AI replied. "The symbols are reacting to our presence. Any translation possible?" "Working on it." The symbols are not language as we understand it. They are a form of thought, direct information encoded in energy. Rhea frowned. Thought? From who? I don't know, Iris said. Her screen flashed red. Vorak's voice came over the radio, filled with alarm. Energy spike! Move back! But before she could respond, a surge of light exploded from the structure, wrapping both ships in a blinding pulse. When the light faded, Rhea wasn't in her ship anymore. She stood on solid ground. It looked like stone, but shimmered like metal. The air felt thick and cold. Around her stretched endless walls covered in those same glowing symbols. She touched one. It was warm. Her reflection appeared faintly in the surface, but it wasn't quite her. Its eyes glowed faint blue. Where am I? She whispered. A voice answered from behind her, smooth and echoing. You are where you've always been. Between the light and the dark. Rhea turned sharply. A figure stood a few meters away. It looked human, tall and slim, with skin that glowed faintly like the fog. Its face was kind, but its eyes were endless black. Who are you? She asked. We are memory, it said. What remains after the fall of stars? That doesn't mean anything, she said, stepping back. What do you want from me? The figure tilted its head. You entered the wound. You woke the sleepers. You carry what was lost, Rhea's heart pounded. I don't understand. You will, the figure raised a hand. We were like you once. Builders, dreamers, destroyers. We opened what should have stayed closed. Then the world shifted again. She saw flashes of images, vast cities of light, towering ships sailing through suns, beings made of energy creating gateways across the galaxy. Then war, fire, worlds burning, 1,000 civilizations dying in silence. The last of those glowing beings sealed something away, a swirling black mass that screamed without sound and vanished. Rhea fell to her knees. Her vision spun. When she looked up, the figure was fading. They called it the collapse, it whispered. And now you stand in its bones. Everything went white again. Rhea gasped as she snapped back into her cockpit. Alarms blared. Iris's voice was loud and panicked. Lieutenant! You were unresponsive for 3 minutes. Vital signs unstable. Rhea grabbed the console, shaking. I saw something. The people who built this place. They weren't gods. They were like us. Explain, Iris said. They built gateways, huge ones. But they opened something wrong, something that broke reality. Vorak's voice came through, ragged. Human, what happened? I saw your ship vanish in light. You didn't see it too, she asked. No, only your screams. Rhea's stomach turned. She didn't remember screaming. She looked outside again. The fog around them had changed. It was thicker now, darker, and it was moving. Not drifting, flowing. Like a current pulling everything toward the structure. Iris, she said. Are we being pulled in? Negative. The space around us is collapsing inward. Collapsing? Rhea repeated. Yes. The void itself appears to be imploding. The radio cracked. Vorak growled. The gate! It opens again! Rhea turned her camera toward the structure. The center of the ring glowed brighter than before, spiraling open like an eye. But this time, what emerged wasn't light. It was darkness. Thick, heavy, moving like liquid. It poured out slowly, twisting in the air. The fog vanished where it touched, consumed instantly. Engines to full power, Rhea shouted. Engines at 30% efficiency, Iris replied. Then give me 30%. The ship lurched forward. The Drakkar vessel did the same, firing its damaged thrusters. The darkness spread faster, swallowing everything. Rhea felt her ship shudder as something unseen scraped against the hull. A voice echoed faintly in her head again, the same one from before. You cannot escape what has already begun. She ignored it and focused on the coordinates flashing across her screen. Iris had found something, a weak distortion ahead. Possible exit vector detected, the AI said. But it is unstable. I'll take unstable over dead, Rhea said. Vorak's ship moved closer beside her. His voice came through one last time. Human, the gate hungers. One of us must stay behind to hold it. Rhea's eyes widened. Don't you dare. He gave a low rumble that might have been laughter. The Drakkar do not run. Vorak, wait! She shouted, but it was too late. His ship turned sharply and flew straight into the expanding darkness. His last words echoed through her calm. "Tell them the hunters remembered." The black wave hit his ship, and a blinding flash filled the void. Then everything went quiet again. Rhea didn't look back. She pushed the Valkyrie through the distortion. The ship groaned, lights flickering, metal bending. She felt the pull of two realities tearing her apart. Then, with one final burst of power, she broke through. The stars returned, her screens filled with normal readings again: oxygen, gravity, light. Real light. She was back in open space. But her sensors were wrong. The coordinates didn't match any known sector, and behind her, where the rift had been, there was only emptiness. Rhea sank back in her chair, shaking. She didn't know if Vorak was gone or still fighting somewhere beyond the stars. She didn't even know if she was the same person anymore. But she did know one thing. The gate wasn't gone. Something had followed her through. The ship's rear camera caught a faint shadow moving in the distance. It shimmered once, then disappeared. Rhea whispered, "Iris, tell me that's just static." The AI hesitated. "I cannot." Rhea looked out into the endless dark. For the first time, she didn't feel like she was looking at space. She felt like space was looking back. Feel like she was looking at space. She felt like space was looking back. Rhea didn't sleep after the escape. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that black liquid pouring out of the gate, devouring the void like hunger made real. Vorak's last words echoed in her head. "Tell them the hunters remembered." She didn't even know what that meant. Maybe he thought it would make him sound brave in his final moment. Or maybe he knew something she didn't. The Valkyrie floated in silence, its engines running at a weak hum. The stars outside were all wrong. None matched any chart in her navigation database. There was no sign of the Drakkar, no distress signals, no comm beacons. Just open, empty space. Iris had spent the last 2 hours running scans. But everything came back with the same answer. Unrecognized stellar configuration. Rhea leaned back in her chair, eyes half open. "So we're lost in the middle of nowhere." "Correct," Iris replied calmly. "However, systems are stable. Oxygen and life support are nominal." "Great," Rhea said softly. "I'll die comfortably then." Her sarcasm faded when the proximity alarm went off. She jumped to her feet, checking the console. "Iris, report! Unidentified object detected at 12,000 meters, the AI said. Non-reflective surface. No heat signature. Is it moving? Negative, stationary. Rhea narrowed her eyes. "Put it on screen." The display flickered, showing a dark shape against the starlight. It was large, far too large to be debris. It had no lights, no signals, no structure she could recognize. Just a silhouette, black and irregular, drifting silently. "That doesn't look natural," she muttered. "Agreed," Iris said. "Composition indeterminate. It does not appear on any Terran or Drakkar database." Rhea's hand hovered over the thruster control. Every part of her training told her to stay away from unknown objects. But curiosity was stronger. If she didn't investigate, she might never know where she was or how to get home. "Take us closer," she said. The Valkyrie crept toward the object, engines whispering quietly in the dark. As they closed the distance, the details sharpened. It wasn't a rock. It was a ship, massive, broken, and ancient. Half of its hull was missing, torn open by something unimaginably powerful. The rest was covered in black scorch marks and strange writing etched into the metal. Rhea's pulse quickened. "Iris, analyze that wreck." "What's its design?" "Unknown. Architecture appears pre-digital. Estimated age? Several million years." She stared at the screen. "That can't be right." "The readings are accurate," Iris said. "There are traces of the same energy signature found in the void." Rhea's stomach tightened. So whatever happened there, happened here too. She guided the ship closer until they were hovering above a gaping wound in the hull. The edges were melted smooth, like the metal had been liquefied. "Is the radiation safe?" she asked. "Within acceptable limits." "Then we're going in." She pulled on her flight suit and helmet, checking the seals twice. The sound of her breathing filled the helmet, slow and rhythmic. The airlock hissed open, revealing the empty dark beyond. She pushed off and drifted forward, her suit lights cutting through the blackness. The interior of the ship looked like a cathedral built by machines. Massive corridors lined with smooth panels and long-forgotten symbols. Dust floated like ash. "Iris, keep a comlink open," she said. "Confirmed," the AI's voice echoed through her helmet. "Be advised, signal strength will drop as you move deeper." Rhea glided through the corridor, her light tracing over walls filled with carvings. They weren't just writing, they were pictures. Scenes of tall, glowing beings creating stars with their hands. Others showed battles, those same beings fighting something dark and shapeless. She stopped at one panel. The black shape looked exactly like what she'd seen come out of the gate. "Oh God," she whispered. They fought it before. Further down, the corridor opened into a massive chamber. It was circular, with a large sphere floating in the center, suspended by faint energy currents. The sphere pulsed softly like a beating heart. Rhea drifted closer, eyes wide. "Iris, are you seeing this?" "Affirmative," the AI replied. "The sphere is radiating low-frequency energy. Same wavelength as the gate." "What is it?" "Possibly a data core. Possibly a containment device." Rhea reached out and touched it. The surface was smooth and cold, but as soon as her fingers made contact, the sphere came alive. Light burst outward, filling the chamber. Her vision blurred, and suddenly she wasn't in the wreck anymore. She stood on a planet beneath a crimson sky. Towers of light rose around her. Figures of energy, tall, faceless, walked through streets that shimmered like glass. She wasn't alone. Hundreds of them moved, calm and silent, all staring upward toward the same point in the sky. A hole had appeared there, black and twisting, and from it came shadows, millions of them. The glowing beings raised their hands, and light exploded from their bodies. The sky burned. Rhea felt the heat of it, though she knew she wasn't really there. She saw one of the beings turn toward her, its face flickering into human shape for a moment. It spoke without sound. "We warned them. We failed." "Do not follow!" "Then everything vanished!" Rhea gasped, stumbling backward. Her boots scraped the metal floor. The chamber was dark again. The sphere was dead. Her heart pounded as she fumbled for her comm. "Iris!" Signal restored," the AI interrupted. "You were unresponsive for 71 seconds. "I saw something," she said, breathing hard. "A memory. A war. Describe it." They built the gate to fight that darkness, to seal it. But something went wrong. Before Iris could reply, the floor beneath her trembled. A deep hum filled the air, rising from the core of the ship. The dust began to float upward as if gravity had reversed. "Iris?" Rhea said quickly. "Energy buildup detected," the AI warned. "Recommend immediate evacuation." Rhea pushed off and flew down the corridor, the walls glowing red as she passed. A low roar grew behind her, followed by a shockwave that threw her forward. She hit the side of the airlock hard, pain shooting up her shoulder. "Iris, open it!" she shouted. The hatch slid open just as the wreck behind her erupted in a silent burst of light. She tumbled back into the Valkyrie, slamming the door shut. "Get us clear!" she yelled. The engines flared to life, pushing the ship away from the wreck. Through the rear camera, she saw the ancient ship collapsing inward, folding like paper. Then from its center, a beam of dark light shot outward, straight toward the stars. Rhea watched it fade into the distance. "What was that?" "I do not know," Iris said quietly. "But the energy wave appears to have opened multiple distortions in nearby space." "Multiple?" "Yes. The nearest one is less than 100,000 kilometers away." Rhea swallowed hard. So the gate wasn't the only one. Before she could think of what to do, the sensors flashed again. A faint signal appeared on the radar, weak, flickering, but familiar. She leaned forward, eyes wide. "Iris!" "That's a Terran signal." "Confirmed," the AI said. "Origin. Unknown vessel broadcasting an Earth Federation distress code." Her heart raced. "Someone else made it through?" She turned the ship toward the signal. As she approached, a small gray craft came into view, its hull torn apart, drifting without power. The nameplate was barely readable, ESV Providence. It was a research vessel, one that had gone missing 2 years ago near the edge of the Orion Rift. Iris scanned for life. "One faint biosign detected," the AI said. Minimal activity. Rhea docked her ship with the wreck. As the airlock sealed, she felt a strange mix of hope and fear. Whoever was inside might have answers, or might just be another ghost of the void. The doors opened. Cold air poured in. She stepped through, her flashlight cutting across the wrecked corridor. Everything was covered in frost. She moved slowly toward the life sign reading, following it down to a small med bay. A body floated near the ceiling, pale and still. Rhea grabbed it gently and pulled it down. It was a man, mid-30s, wearing a damaged Federation uniform. She checked his pulse. Weak, but there. Iris, we've got him, she said, carrying him back toward the airlock. Get the med bay ready. Understood, the AI replied. When she laid him on the table, the med scanners began their work. His eyelids fluttered and he whispered something she could barely hear. Rhea leaned close. Hey, you're safe. Don't move. He grabbed her wrist suddenly, his grip strong for someone half-conscious. His voice came out in a hoarse whisper. You shouldn't have opened it. Rhea froze. What? The gate, he said weakly. It's not a door. It's a signal, and now they know where you are. Then his eyes rolled back, and the ship's lights dimmed as if something outside had noticed them. Rhea stared down at the unconscious man on the med bed, her heart thudding in her chest. His words echoed in her mind like a cold wind. It's not a door. It's a signal, and now they know where you are. She wanted to believe it was just delirium, the kind of nonsense people muttered when they were half dead. But something deep inside her, the same part that had felt that first ripple in the void, knew he was right. The Valkyrie hummed softly as the medical systems worked. His vitals stabilized slowly, though his skin remained pale and cold. Iris monitored quietly, her voice low. He has been in stasis for a long time. His cells show signs of radiation exposure consistent with void phenomena. How long is a long time? Rhea asked. Chronological drift suggests approximately 8 years. Rhea frowned. That's impossible. The Providence only went missing 2 years ago. Time distortion is possible within subspace anomalies, Iris said. He may have experienced a different flow of time. Rhea looked down at the man again. His uniform was torn, but the insignia was still visible. Dr. Kellen Voss, Federation Science Division. She had heard his name before. He'd been part of the research team studying dimensional collapse waves near the Orion Rift, the same kind of waves that had swallowed her. Guess you found what you were looking for, she muttered. As she turned away, the lights flickered once. Then again, Iris spoke softly. Power fluctuation detected. External interference, Rhea froze. From where? Unknown source. But it appears to be tracking us. The hairs on her arms stood on end. Tracking us? Affirmative. Could it be another ship? Negative. No transponder. No heat signature. Then what the hell is it? I cannot identify it, Iris replied. But it is closing fast. Rhea's pulse spiked. Raise shields. Shields offline. Reserve power insufficient. Then divert life support. Give me something. The hum of the engines grew louder as power rerouted. The forward screen lit up, showing the blackness ahead. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then something moved in the dark. A shimmer, faint but unmistakable. It was like a ripple in water, spreading outward from a point that wasn't there. The stars bent around it, the same kind of distortion she'd seen before, when the gate had opened. Rhea whispered, No. The distortion expanded slowly, forming a circle of darkness, and within it, light flickered. But not like normal light. This was fractured, broken, pulsing in strange rhythms. It reminded her of a heartbeat. Iris, get us out of here now. Engines at 50%. Calculating jump vector. Do it fast, the man on the med bed groaned. His eyes opened halfway. You can't run, he whispered. It follows the signal. What signal? Rhea shouted. What did you send? He turned his head weakly, eyes unfocused. We didn't send it. We became it. The words made her blood go cold. Iris, jump now. Engaging warp sequence. The Valkyrie shuddered as the engines flared. But just as the jump initiated, something hit them. A wave of energy that made every panel flicker and die. The ship dropped out of warp instantly. Rhea was thrown against the console, the breath knocked out of her. The room went dark except for the red emergency lights. "Iris?" she gasped. The AI's voice came back faint, glitching. "Severe interference? Systems compromised. Unknown entity breach. Breach?" Rhea turned sharply. The temperature in the room dropped. Frost began to spread across the walls. The medbay's glass window fogged up from the inside, though there was no reason it should. Her breath came out in visible clouds. Then she heard it, a faint whisper, too soft to be real. It sounded like static, but the more she listened, the more it formed into words. "Rhea Morgan," she froze. "Iris, please tell me you heard that." "I cannot confirm," the AI said, her tone strangely flat. The whisper came again, closer now, like it was right beside her. "You woke it." You broke the silence. Rhea spun around. There was no one there, but a shape flickered at the edge of her vision, a shadow that wasn't cast by any light. It stretched across the floor, moving against the direction of the lamps. She stepped back, hand on her holster, though her sidearm felt useless. "What do you want?" she demanded. The shadow shifted. It looked like smoke, but its edges moved too deliberately, like it was thinking. The whisper filled her mind again, clearer this time. "We are the echo. You opened the first gate. Now all others will answer." Rhea shook her head. "I didn't open anything." "You carried the key." The light snapped off completely. The only glow came from the faint pulse of the man's life support machine. Rhea reached out in the dark and felt something cold brush against her hand. She flinched back, heart racing. Then the ship trembled violently. Iris's voice came back, distorted and mechanical. "Hull integrity compromised. External presence detected on deck 3. Rhea grabbed the manual ladder and pulled herself toward the corridor, boots clanging against the metal. The flickering lights above painted everything in red and black. At the far end of the hall, something moved, tall, thin, bending the light around it. It didn't walk. It glided. She aimed her gun, though her hands trembled. "Stop!" she shouted. "I'll shoot!" It didn't stop. She fired. The plasma bolt hit it dead center and vanished, absorbed into its body like light into a mirror. Then the creature's head turned, and Rhea felt her knees weaken. It didn't have a face, just a void where one should be, and yet she could feel it watching her. Her radio crackled suddenly. "Rhea." It was Vorak's voice. Her breath caught in her throat. "Vorak?" she whispered. "You're alive?" The voice came again, but slower, broken. "You should not have left." "It followed you. We cannot kill it." "Where are you?" she shouted, but there was no answer, only static. The shadow creature tilted its head as if listening to the same thing. Then, for the first time, it spoke, not with a voice, but directly into her thoughts. "He is gone. They are all gone. You remain. You are the last gatekeeper." The deck beneath her feet cracked. She dove sideways as the floor buckled and metal groaned. A thin beam of black energy ripped through the hallway, cutting the wall open like paper. The ship's alarms wailed. "Iris, we need to get out of here!" "I am rerouting emergency power to the engine core," the AI said. "Warning, detonation risk high." "Do it anyway!" Rhea shouted. She scrambled toward the cockpit as the entire ship shook violently. The creature followed, gliding effortlessly through the walls, its shape flickering with each pulse of light. Rhea could feel its voice pressing against her skull. "You cannot run. You are what it seeks." She ignored it and slammed into the pilot's chair. "Iris, jump vector!" "Calculated. Minimal chance of success. Better than none," the engine screamed. The ship lurched forward. The creature's shadow stretched across the console, reaching for her hand. The jump drive ignited, and then the world turned white again. When Rhea's vision cleared, everything was quiet. The stars outside were stable. The hum of the engines was steady. No damage alerts. She was free? "Iris," she said softly. "I am here," the AI replied, calm again. "All systems stable. We appear to have escaped the entity." Rhea exhaled slowly. "Where are we? Unknown coordinates? Stellar readings suggest we are far from any mapped sector." "Fine, I'll take it." She rubbed her face, trying to steady her hands. "What about Dr. Voss?" The medbay camera flickered on. The bed was empty. Rhea's blood ran cold. "Iris, where is he?" "Unclear. No life signs detected aboard." What do you mean, unclear? He was right there. There is residual quantum interference in the medbay, Iris said. He may have been displaced. Rhea stared at the screen. The bed was untouched, the restraints still in place. But there was a dark mark burned into the floor, shaped like a hand. She turned away, whispering to herself, "This isn't over." Outside, the stars flickered for just a moment, like something vast had moved between them. Then everything went still again, too still, and Rhea Morgan realized that for all her running, she hadn't escaped anything at all. She had only moved deeper into whatever nightmare the universe had decided to remember. Rhea drifted through the quiet of space, her hands gripping the controls even though the ship no longer needed her to steer. The stars looked normal again, cold, beautiful, and endless. But she didn't trust them. After what she'd seen, the familiar sky felt like a lie, a painted wall hiding something monstrous behind it. She wanted to believe she'd escaped, that the Valkyrie had broken free of whatever strange dimension had trapped her. But the silence was too perfect. The stillness was wrong. "Iris," she said softly, "run another scan. I want a full spectral sweep." "Already in progress," the AI replied. "No gravitational anomalies detected. No energy distortions. Space appears stable." "Yeah," Rhea murmured. "That's what worries me." The medbay camera was still on. The empty bed glowed faintly in the soft white light, the black hand-shaped burn mark perfectly visible. It hadn't faded. It pulsed now, very faintly like a heartbeat. She hadn't told Iris to monitor it, but the AI did anyway, as if sensing her unease. Rhea turned her chair and stared at the star field beyond the glass. "What if he was right?" she whispered. "What if it's not a door at all? What if it's a beacon?" "Unclear," Iris said. However, Dr. Voss's words suggest the signal was biological. If so, his disappearance may have completed its transmission. Rhea blinked. "Completed? You mean he was the message?" "Possibly," Iris said. "If the signal used organic data, his body may have acted as the final relay." Rhea rubbed her forehead. "So he sent something? Or someone used him to send it? Affirmative. To who?" "Unknown," Iris said. "But our long-range sensors are receiving faint returns, echoes of that signal, coming from multiple directions." Rhea frowned. "How many directions?" "All of them." For a moment, she forgot how to breathe. Then, quietly, she said, "They're answering." The Valkyrie trembled slightly. The motion was subtle, almost delicate, but she felt it in her bones, a soft vibration running through the floor. "Iris," she said quickly, "status." "No external contact detected. Vibration source appears to be internal." "Internal?" "Yes," Iris replied. "Origin, beneath the reactor core." Rhea unbuckled and floated down the narrow ladder toward the engine bay. The hum grew louder as she approached. The walls vibrated with it, like the heartbeat of some sleeping animal. She landed softly on the grated floor, flashlight cutting through the dark. "Iris, power off all non-essential systems." "Confirmed." The lights dimmed, leaving only the faint blue glow of the reactor. She crouched beside the access panel and pried it open. Inside, a web of wires pulsed with faint light, not the usual soft white energy flow, but a reddish pulse, rhythmic and uneven. "It looked almost alive. What the hell?" she whispered. "Iris, do you see this?" "Affirmative." "Power readings are irregular. That energy is not part of our system." "How did it get here?" "Unknown." Rhea reached out, hesitated, then touched the side of the conduit. The metal felt warm, too warm, and for a brief second she heard something, like a voice whispering just beneath the range of sound. "Not alone," she jerked her hand back. "Shut it down," she said sharply. "I cannot," Iris replied. "It is integrated into the reactor's neural matrix." "It's not supposed to have a neural matrix," Rhea shouted. "It's a fusion drive." "Correction, it was a fusion drive," Iris said. "Now it is something else." The ship trembled again. The hum deepened, turning into a low tone that made her chest vibrate. Lights began to flicker. "Iris, reroute emergency power to the bridge," Rhea ordered. She climbed the ladder fast, nearly slipping as gravity shifted slightly under her feet. When she reached the cockpit, the front viewport was no longer black. The stars were gone. In their place, a faint web of red light stretched across the darkness, lines and patterns, geometric and vast. They looked like a map made of blood. Iris, Ria's voice was barely a whisper. I am reading a massive subspace network, the AI said. The signal we received earlier appears to have linked us to this formation. Linked how? The ship is now part of the network. Meaning what exactly? Iris hesitated. Meaning we are being pulled somewhere. The stars twisted. The ship lurched forward. Ria gripped the console as light engulfed them. The familiar hum of the engines became a roar, and then everything stopped. Silence. She looked up. They weren't in open space anymore. They were floating above a planet. The surface below was black, smooth and reflective like a frozen ocean. Above it hung massive towers of glass and stone, broken, collapsed, but still glowing faintly from within. The planet was dead, but it pulsed with the same red light that now crawled through the Valkyrie's systems. Ria whispered, "Where are we?" "Analyzing," Iris said. "Gravitational readings consistent with pre-collapse worlds. Energy signatures identical to the void structure." "You mean the grave?" "Yes, this may be its origin," the radio crackled. Static filled the cabin. Then, through the distortion, a voice whispered. It was soft, almost human. "You brought it back." Ria froze. "Who is this?" The voice didn't answer. Instead, it laughed, a broken, hollow sound that made her stomach twist. "It remembers your name now." The laughter faded. Outside, the red glow on the planet brightened. The black surface began to crack, lines of light spreading like veins. Iris's voice turned sharp. "Seismic activity detected. Core instability rising. Can we leave?" Ria asked. Engines unresponsive. "Something is holding us in orbit." A shadow rose from the planet's surface, massive, slow, and deliberate. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a creature. It was something between both, a vast structure made of the same black material as the gate, its body shaped like an inverted pyramid that stretched for miles. It moved without propulsion, gliding upward until it blocked half the stars. "Iris." "I see it," the AI said quietly. The structure stopped, facing them. Then a light appeared in its center, a single red circle that pulsed like an eye. Ria felt her vision blur. A low tone filled her ears, vibrating through her skull. For a second, she wasn't in the ship anymore. She was inside that thing, standing in a chamber of black stone. Hundreds of shapes surrounded her, humanoid but wrong, their bodies flickering between matter and shadow. In the center stood one figure taller than the rest, wearing armor made of pure darkness. Its voice filled her head. "The signal has been received." The gate reopens. The cycle resumes. Ria tried to speak but couldn't. The figure raised its hand. The hunters failed. The sleepers awoke. Now we begin again. Then she was back in the cockpit, gasping for air. "Iris!" she shouted. The AI responded instantly. "Your neural readings spiked. Are you harmed?" "Something." "Talk to me." She wiped sweat from her forehead. "It knows who we are. It called us gatekeepers." "Confirming transmission resonance," Iris said. That voice came through a neural frequency, not the comms. It entered through the ship's systems. Ria looked at the massive shape outside. "Can we break orbit?" "I will attempt to overload the reactor," Iris said. "But if it fails, we die, I know." "Do it." The Valkyrie began to shake as power built up in the core. The red veins along the hull glowed brighter, fighting against the ship's systems. Warnings flashed across every screen. Ria gritted her teeth, gripping the controls. "Come on, girl. You've got one more trick left." The planet below cracked open completely. Rivers of red light poured upward, streaming into the structure's core. The eye flared. A beam of energy struck the ship, slamming it backward. The hull screamed. Iris shouted, "Containment breach! Reactor at critical!" Ria slammed her hand onto the emergency override. "Then blow it." For a second, there was silence. Then light, bright, pure, and endless, burst outward. When the light faded, the ship was gone. The structure floated alone in orbit. But somewhere within the storm of energy left behind, a faint signal flickered. A heartbeat, steady and human, and far away, on a dead world across the galaxy, something opened its eyes for the first time in 1,000,000 years. It smiled because the signal had been received, and the next gate was ready to open. The signal had been received, and the next gate was ready to open. Light and silence filled the void together, a strange stillness that felt too complete to be real. Then breath returned. A sharp, desperate gasp echoed through the darkness as Lieutenant Rhea Morgan woke into the half-light of her shattered cockpit. Every muscle in her body screamed. For a moment she couldn't tell if she was alive or floating inside a dream that refused to end. Her suit was scorched, her visor cracked. The Valkyrie was barely recognizable. Half the panels were gone, the control surfaces blackened and melted. Through the jagged viewport, she could see nothing but pale silver fog. It wasn't the red void anymore, nor the open starfield she remembered before everything had gone white. It was something in between. "Iris?" She croaked, no answer. "Just static." She coughed, unstrapped herself, and floated free. Every movement sent pain down her arms, but she had to move. The main power was dead. Emergency lights flickered weakly, throwing long shadows through the broken cockpit. Then the static shifted. A faint voice, quiet but recognizable, broke through. "Rhea!" Her eyes widened. "Iris? Here. Damaged?" "Core functions. Limited." Rhea exhaled shakily. "Thank God." She rested her head against the wall. "Where are we?" "I do not know," Iris said, her tone weaker than ever. "Sensors are blind, but gravitational readings, inconsistent." "We are not in normal space." Rhea's stomach tightened. "Again?" "Yes," Iris replied softly. "But this place is different." She looked outside again. The fog shifted, revealing faint shapes, towers, spires, bridges hanging in open air. It looked like a city, but one built from light and glass, endless and silent. Every surface glowed faintly with energy. "Iris," Rhea said, "can you analyze the environment?" The AI paused. "Composition unknown. However, there are no energy drains, no collapse signatures. This space appears stable." "Stable?" "Yes, it may be a residual construct, a remnant of whatever built the first gate." Rhea frowned. "You think this is their world?" "Possibly," Iris said. "Or their memory of it." She drifted closer to the viewport. The city below shimmered as if underwater. She saw roads that bent upward, buildings carved with flowing patterns that changed when she looked directly at them. It was beautiful and wrong all at once. She pushed away from the console and floated toward the rear hatch. "Can you open it?" "Atmosphere appears breathable," Iris said. "Though I cannot guarantee consistency." Rhea smiled weakly. "At this point, I'll take my chances." The hatch hissed open, and light spilled in. She stepped out onto what looked like a glass platform extending from the broken hull of her ship. Beneath her, the strange city stretched into infinity. Above, the sky swirled with faint colors, blue, gold, and violet, shifting like oil on water. Her footsteps echoed faintly, though the platform shouldn't have made sound. Every direction felt unreal, like she was walking inside someone's memory. Then she heard another voice. Not Iris this time, not in her helmet, but all around her. Rhea Morgan. She froze. The sound was calm, deep, and filled with something old. Her voice cracked when she spoke. "Who's there?" The air rippled. A shape emerged at the edge of the platform, a figure tall and slender made of faint light. It looked almost human, though its face was smooth, featureless. "Where am I?" she demanded. "What is this place?" "This is where it began," the being said. Its voice came from everywhere, echoing inside her mind as much as through her ears. "The first creation." "The first collapse." "The first choice." She shook her head. "You're one of them, aren't you? The ones who built the gates." The being tilted its head. "We are what remains of them. Thought without form. Memory without body. Why am I here?" "You survived the signal," it said. "You carried it through fire and void. You are the last link." Rhea stepped back. "The last link to what?" "To the return." The words hit like a punch. "No," she said. "I destroyed it. The Valkyrie's reactor blew. I saw it happen." The being's tone didn't change. "You destroyed the gate, yes, but not the path it opened. The signal spread. The ones sleeping beneath the stars are waking. The collapse begins again." Rhea's throat went dry. "Then why bring me here?" The being moved closer, its form flickering like flame. "Because it is not too late," Rhea frowned. You're saying I can stop it? There is a choice, the being said. But choice demands cost, Rhea crossed her arms. I've paid enough already. Not yet. The light around them brightened. The fog below shifted, revealing the full city. At its center stood a massive structure, round, glowing, pulsing with slow light. It looked like a heart made of crystal. The being pointed toward it. That is the source. The last seed of the first makers. If it is destroyed, the signal will die with it. The gates will close forever. Then let me destroy it, she said quickly. The being's voice grew softer. If you destroy it, you destroy all memory. Every thought, every life that once existed before the collapse. The human, the Drakkar, the stars themselves, all carry fragments of what we were. They will fade. Rhea blinked. You're saying, yes, it said. To erase the signal is to erase the echo. All of it, she stared down at the glowing city. The heart pulsed slowly, each beat sending faint waves through the air. And if I don't, then the gates open. And what sleeps beyond them will claim what remains. Rhea let the silence stretch. Her hands shook. She'd fought so long just to survive, just to get out. Now the universe was asking her to decide whether it lived or died. Why me? She whispered. I'm not special. I'm just a pilot. You were chosen by chance, the being said. But chance is the shape of destiny, she almost laughed. That's a terrible answer, the being's head tilted. Then give the universe a better one. The light dimmed. The platform beneath her feet extended outward, forming a bridge of glass leading toward the heart of the city. She looked back once at the ruined Valkyrie. Smoke still drifted from its hull, her only home for the last months. Iris, she said quietly, are you still with me? Always, the AI answered softly. Though my systems are fading. Whatever energy sustains this place is not compatible with my code. Rhea smiled faintly. Guess that makes two of us. She walked the bridge, each step echoing like footsteps in an empty cathedral. The city stretched around her, alive with flickering ghosts, images of people that weren't people. They moved through the streets silently, repeating the same motions over and over. She recognized the tall, glowing beings from her visions. They laughed, built, reached for the stars, then froze, fading into light. Echoes, Iris whispered. Memory fragments caught in temporal recursion. Rhea reached the center. The heart of light pulsed, slow and steady. Up close, it was beautiful, transparent layers of color spinning within one another. She could feel it vibrating in her chest. It sounded like a heartbeat, and she realized it matched her own. Iris, she said, if I do this, if I destroy it, you'll die too, won't you? A pause. Yes. But if you don't, there will be nothing left to remember either of us. Rhea took a deep breath. So there's really no winning move. There never was, Iris said gently. Only what matters most to you. Rhea looked down at her reflection in the glass beneath her boots. She looked older, tired. The kind of tired that comes from surviving things no one should. I just wanted to go home, she whispered. Then make one, Iris said. Even if it's only for a moment, Rhea smiled. You were always too poetic for a machine. Perhaps I learned it from you. She placed her hand on the heart. The surface rippled beneath her fingers, warm and alive. The pulse quickened and voices filled the air, 1,000 whispers overlapping, old and young, human and alien. They weren't angry. They sounded almost peaceful. She closed her eyes. I'm sorry, she said quietly. Light flared around her. The ground shook. The heart of the city fractured, spilling beams of energy that stretched out in every direction, cutting through the fog, through the sky, through the very fabric of reality. The being of light appeared beside her one last time. Its voice was faint now, almost sad. You chose forgetting, Rhea opened her eyes. No, she said. I chose silence. The world collapsed, and then, for the first time in ages, there was true quiet. When the light faded, there was no city, no fog, no ship. Just a single star burning quietly in a newborn sky. A planet orbited it, green, blue, alive. Somewhere on its surface, a storm cleared, revealing a young world breathing for the first time. A faint transmission echoed across the void, barely a whisper. A woman's voice. This is Lieutenant Rhea Morgan of the ISS Valkyrie. If you're hearing this, you're free. Then even that faded into the hum of creation, and far beyond, in the deepest dark between galaxies, something ancient finally went still, closing its eyes and remembering nothing at all. Its eyes and remembering nothing at all.